Hi, I'm Sophia Haber and welcome back to the North News. Today, I'm joined by Joseph D'Onofrio. He's known for many roles, including young Tommy in Goodfellas, Slick in A Bronx Tale, and his reoccurring role of Staten Island Mike on the TV sitcom Are We There Yet? And you've worked with some really amazing actors, and and you've been successful in both comedy and dramatic roles throughout your career, which I think you've had an amazing career so far. So actually, first, I think we should talk about your upcoming show, right, in Middletown. Can you talk about
Yeah,
that?
of course. Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. My show is October 16th at the Middletown Sports Complex. It's going to be stand up comedy. I got four stand up comedians and myself. I got Bob DeBono, Steve Marshall, Patty Roxborough, and Drew Frazier, and I'm hosting. We're going to have a three-course dinner, great food. It's only $65 a person. It's like you're getting the food and the comedy shows for free. It starts at 5:30. The doors open. Food's gonna probably come out at like 6 o'clock. Eat and then the show, and it's gonna be really good. And thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, of course. It's great to have you. And I would love to hear about your career. Like I said, you've had a really amazing career and been in a lot of really cool movies. Um, so what was your first like big break? How did you get into acting and movies and stuff like that?
From breakdancing.
Breakdancing. Wow. Can you talk more about that?
When I was a kid, I used to breakdance, and I was in a breakdance contest called the Big Breakdance Contest. It was in the city. And me and my friend came out like, I don't know, like eighth out of like 500 people. And a manager had seen me and she wanted to represent me. So we did a couple of commercials breakdancing. And that led to me auditioning for movies and TV shows. And that's how it started.
Wow. And do you still breakdance in your movies, or is that not a thing anymore?
I mean, I could. I've done some popping and locking, a little breakdance, but my friend Willie DeMeo is the breakdancer now. He's really good.
Oh, okay. And what was your first like movie experience?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I played a movie hoodlum. I robbed a lady's pocketbook and then the turtle beat me up.
Wow. And then I know you have a really good connection with Robert Dinero, right?
Pretty much.
So how did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles turn into you working on his movies?
Well, I auditioned to play young Joe Pesci, and I look so much like Joe Pesci, and so they got me to do the part. I auditioned.
Hmm. And what was your experience working on them? Do you have any specific experiences that like stood out to you or funny experiences?
It was just excellent. It was so great starting on that level and working with the best of the best. I mean, those guys knew what they were doing and they made it easy for me. They made me feel comfortable. I came in, I did my work, and then I went home, man. A really, really nice time. I'm very grateful to those guys.
Hmm. Do you have any like specific experiences with Robert De Niro that you could share?
Oh, yeah. Well, I could share. He directed me in a movie called The Bronx Tale. And I remember I was doing a scene and I wanted to say a word. I wanted to like say something. And he was like, don't say a word, just make a face. And I looked at him and I was like, okay. And he was so right. Because sometimes when you're acting, you don't have to say anything as long as you're showing what you're doing. Like, I don't have to say, oh, I'm going to punch you in the face if I punch you in the face. Because I could just punch you in the face and then, you
Yeah.
know? Well, I don't have to say, I'm going to laugh in your face. I could just laugh in your face.
Mhm. And I totally understand because actually I used to do like community theater, and we used to learn all the time show not tell and like use your emotions and not just say everything. So I totally understand that.
He taught me that. And then, just him just directing us and, being on set and just sometimes, I would have like a feeling inside, like you feel like you're in a dream sometimes. It's like, you're working with, icons and, great actors and directors, and you're like, wow, like I just did this movie called Don Q, and I was working with Amon Asante, and like we're at this house and we're outside on a deck, and I'm talking to him, just about everyday things about, New York and the hunting and this, that, the other thing. And I had like a feeling come over me like, wow, I'm sitting here talking with Amon Asante, the guy who played John Gotti. It's like, wow, you
Yeah,
know,
unreal.
that good feeling. So sometimes that happens to me, and it feels good. It feels good, man. It's a crazy feeling inside, but it's hard to explain.
Have you gotten more used to working with those types of people since you've worked in many movies with them, or
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm used to working with them. I mean, working with them, is easy. I mean, because they're pros, and and I consider myself pretty much a professional when I come to the set. I know like my lines, and what my camera angles and my lighting and my blocking, and I basically know a lot of stuff about that behind the scenes stuff. So I feel like I'm working with them good. But yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
Mhm. Do you ever feel starstruck, like, when you meet a new person or work with a new person?
I don't know if it's starstruck, but like I said, I get that feeling inside. Like I'm like, wow. I guess you could say, yeah, I guess that is starstruck. Now that I think about it, yeah, I guess I am starstruck, but I don't get like star stuck. Like
Mhm,
I'll feel it inside, but I won't let it hinder my performance or hinder the way I'm acting or hinder the way I'm with people, because I try to treat people like, like regular people, because that's how most stars and actors, they want to be treated like, regular people. Of
mhm,
course I love their work and everything like that. And I respect them and I let them know that. But I don't want to be too intrusive and, stuff like that.
mhm. And
So
I
yeah,
just have
I do.
yeah, I'm just wondering because, like, now you're, like, a respected professional, so, like, I'm wondering now, do you ever feel that way too? So, that's
Yeah, of course.
interesting. Um, like, what else do you have any other specific experiences? Like, I love to hear the stories, like, that working with specific people or specific experiences that just stood out to you that were really awesome.
Well, I mean, there's specific actors that I love working with, like William DeMeo, that's doing this TV show Gravesend right now. That's on Amazon Prime Video. We're shooting season 2. I mean, with him, it's great working with him. It's just like, I mean, this is like the fourth project I did with him. We did a movie called Wannabes. We did a movie called Back in the Day, and we did Family Feuds, and now we're doing Gravesend. And I like working with the same people that know the ins and outs of like behind the scenes stuff, because it makes it so much easier.
Mm,
It's like you go to the set and it's like boom, 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 2 takes, you're done. Everybody knows their lines. Everybody's on the same thing. And and that's just a great thing about working with good people. Even like I just did a movie, this thing Return to Danger, with Peter Green, and Judy San Roman actually produced it, and this was like the sixth movie I've done with her. And and it's great working with the same people. Like even my friend Rob Simmons is another producer I've done a couple of movies with. This guy, a bunch of people. I could keep going on and on and on, but I'm grateful that I keep working with the same people over and over again.
mm. And can you talk about, like, the importance of making connections and, like, kind of networking in this industry?
Well, networking is important because you know if people, networking is important, but I think what's more important is networking for the right reasons and networking the right way. I mean, networking isn't like bothering people and calling them every day, or like instant messaging them every day and bothering them. I mean, to me, networking is like being a friend, and and just coming and doing your work and being a professional. I mean, if you go to a set and you know your lines, you do your scenes, you work with other actors well, you work with the casting people, you work with the the craft service well, you work with everybody from the PA to the director and everybody in between. You work with people, you respect them, and you come and you do your job and you're kind, and that is what networking is about, because then that's how the network begins, because people see you and they're like, wow, Joe came to the set. He did his job. He knew his lines. He was great with the wardrobe people. He was great with everybody. He's a positive attitude. Let's bring him back. So networking is important, but important is also doing your job well. Sometimes it's hard because, you're working with people that are working like, the director. Basically, he's coming to work every day and he's working 14 hours a day. Everybody on the set, the grips, the camera guys, the wardrobe people, the makeup people, these people are working 14 hours a day. So, I'm coming in, I'm doing my job, I'm working, a couple of hours here and there. You got to be careful because sometimes people, when you're working that long time, it's so easy to strike a bad, make say something, and somebody could get offended very easily.
Yeah.
So what I do is basically when I go to a set, I try to be careful and watch what people are saying and what people are doing, and also remembering that these people are working long hours, and sometimes what they're saying, either sometimes they don't know what they're saying, or they say things that they shouldn't be saying, that they wouldn't be saying if they weren't working that long. So whatever time somebody says something to me, I basically take it with a grain of salt, and I always say my favorite 3 words is okay, no problem. Okay, if anybody ever asks you, if you know people that worked with me, they'll say, Joseph D'Onofrio's 3 favorite words. They'll say, okay, no problem, because that's right. Because sometimes they'll tell you something on the set, like for example, they'll say something like, "Oh, Joey, we'll need you in makeup in 10 minutes." All right, no problem. But sometimes it won't be 10 minutes. It might be 5 minutes. It might be 20 minutes. It might be 3 hours. But you know what? I just say, okay. And whatever it is, it is. If it's 5 minutes, I'm there. If it's an hour, I'm there. And I don't complain. I just do whatever you want me to do. And if you tell me a wrong time, it's fine. You know why? Because I've also seen where actors get upset at people for that.
Yeah.
Like if somebody will be like, oh, we're going to need you in the chair in 10 minutes. And the actor will be like, okay, I'll see you in 10 minutes. And then like it'll be like a half an hour later, and the people come, oh Joe, not Joe, oh we need you in the chair now, and they'll be like, oh, I thought it was 10 minutes, like being a wise guy about it.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, it's not the person who's telling you fault. Sometimes things happen, and you have to be open and willing to realize that. Listen, it's not all about Joseph D'Onofrio. It's about the whole production, and whatever works for the production, I could do. If you need me in a second, I'm there. Whatever you need, I'm there to work for you. So I want to make your job as easy as possible. That's what you got to remember when you do a set. You'll see. You'll see.
That's good things to live by. I could try to remember that. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. No problem.
And like on a set, you said you're really interested in the other parts, not just the acting aspect. So, what are some parts that really fascinate you that you're interested in?
What do you mean? Like what parts?
Like you said directing or the costumes or makeup. What other like departments on a set are you interested in?
I'm interested in all things. I like everything from the costume to the craft service to the directing to the DOPs. I'm always trying to learn. I mean, I'm writing my own script right now, and I actually want to direct it, but I don't know if I'm going to direct it. I might co-direct it with somebody because it's hard directing. I've been doing a lot of films, and every time I do one, the other actors always ask me, and they say, "Why don't you direct? You're so good with the camera. You're so good with working with other actors, and they tell me." They tell me I know pretty much. So hopefully, maybe one day I'll get a chance to direct. I just got to get somebody to give me some money to make the movie.
Well, you heard it here. Maybe someone's watching and they want to.
But no, all I need is 100, $200,000. I got it done. But see, when I make a movie, I want people to make money from the movie.
Mhm.
I want to make it a great, great movie. It's a horror comedy movie.
Mm.
If you like horror and you like comedy, you would love it.
This is a sneak peek here.
But I respect directors. I respect everybody on the set. That's one thing, man. Everybody works so hard. It's a team effort.
Mm. What's your favorite aspect of is that your favorite aspect of working on set, or what is it? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is just like being somebody else. Being able to, play somebody else and, do something, like, whatever it is. Just, it's just great to just like turn yourself into somebody else for whatever it is, 5 minutes, and then they say cut, and then, you go back to being you. I mean, it's amazing how you could just do that.
Mm. And I really relate because, like I said, I did acting for a while. I love telling stories. I feel like that's my favorite part. Like going in someone else's shoes. I relate to that. Let's see. And you're also in Are We There Yet? Can you talk about your experience with that?
Oh yeah, of course. That was a great experience. I played Staten Island Mike. It was a comedy. It was a sitcom, so everything was over the top. And I played a guy that basically was like, all over the place. The best friend, one of the friends of Terry Crews, and it was so much fun. I love doing sitcoms. I wish I could be on a sitcom every week. And I wasn't the star, I wasn't the co-star. I was just like a guy who popped up every now and then, and I like that. Even like now with the Gravesend, I'm not, I'm not the star, I'm not the co-star. I'm just a guy who pops up here and there, and I'm happy with being the guy who just pops up here and there. It's fun to do, man. It's very fun. All we there was a great experience. So many great people. Ali Leroy created it. Great guy, man. Oh, thank you for asking too.
Yeah, of course. Can you share any specific stories that you remember?
Oh, I remember one day I was so sick. I was like, I was like coughing and like I was really sick. And I had called them up and told them I was sick. And they were like, you know, they were like, "Are you that sick?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sick." I said, "But I'll come in anyway." And I remember coming in, and Keisha Sharp, who played one of the girls on the show, she made me like green tea with honey, and like they took care of me, man, and it was great. And then it was actually the episode when I did a Chris Tucker voice, and I was like, "You see Chris Tucker? Yo, what was it? You see what was his name? What was the name of that movie he did? Friday. You see Friday, man? You see that movie Friday? How to do that voice. But it was great because I remember I was so sick that when I did the voice, I was sick, so it sounded like his voice because his voice is kind of like, it was kind of like whiny or whatever. And I remember we did it, and then they say cut, and I was like, I went back down and I would take honey, and then we'd say, but we got it done. We got it done.
Wow, it worked out perfectly.
It worked out, and then I went home, and everything was good. They sent me home. They took care of me, man. They were really, really good people over, man. I loved working with those people.
Mm. And what was like working with Terry Crews and also Ice Cube? Ice Cube was in
Ice
uh,
Cube, yeah, Ice Cube. I did a couple of scenes with him because he was based on his movie that he did, so he
mm,
produced, and yeah, he was a big part of it. Nice guy.
mm. And what was it? You also worked on Jungle Fever?
Yep.
So how was it working with like Spike Lee and what was your experience on that?
Oh my God, it was great. I filmed that in Brooklyn, New York, man. It was great. I remember I auditioned. I met Spike, and I read for play one of the brothers. And what happened was he liked me so much in the audition that he didn't give me the part as the brother, but they actually made a part for me. And I played one of the guys in the candy store, Patty.
Oh
And
wow.
fun. It was fun. That was one of my first movies where, like, I remember I did a close up, and I remember Spike was doing the close up of me, and I was shaking, man. I was so scared, but I got through it. I actually seen Spike a couple of months ago, and I gave him a big hug, man. He's a nice guy.
Mm. And what do you think your favorite project that you've worked on is?
My favorite project that I've worked on, probably Gravesend that I'm doing right now.
Mm. Can
Yeah.
you share about that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I mean it's great because all my friends are on it, and all my friends are actually like behind the scenes. My friends producing it. I know the costume people, I know the makeup people. I mean, I've known these people for like so many years. So basically, when you go to set, it's like family. So
Mm,
it's great. It's like you go, and and it's great to work with people like us that are like your family. Yeah,
mm,
that's experience, and it's just it's fun. It's really fun. I'm excited because I have like 3 scenes that I'm doing. I got the scenes. There's probably going to be more. They told me, but as of now, I have 3 scenes that I'm doing, and they're great scenes. And it's like there's no pressure. It's just like you go to work and you see your friends. It's like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it's great to work with the same people. It's not like a regular job, like you go into work for 20 years with the same people. It's like in acting. It's like, I just did Don Q. I worked with people. Before that, I did Return to Danger. It's different people. Before that, I worked on something else. It's different. Like you're moving from different people to different people. So it's good when you're working like with the same people all the time.
mm,
And Michelle, my friend Michelle's one of the producers on that, and she's a dear friend of mine. Her and her husband are really nice, and Willie, of course, and his son, and everybody else involved. Really good people.
mm. And so, I'm gonna loop back around to our first discussion. So, how did you get into comedy, and why did you choose to start pursuing that?
Well, what happened was I was introduced to a friend that was a stand-up comedian, and he had told me, he's like, I really like your acting. He says, did you ever try to do stand-up? It's pretty hard. And I was like, I thought about it. I always wanted to do it. And he was like, you should do it. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, you probably can't do it. Like he called me out in a way.
A challenge.
I said, is that a challenge? That's what I told him. And he's like, yeah, it's a challenge. I said, all right, so let's do it. Let's set up a show. And then what happened was I never seen him for like a month. And then I had bumped into him and I said, what happened to the show we were supposed to do? You never called me. And he was like, why, you were serious? I was like, yeah, I was serious. I'd like to give it a try. And then he called up Dangerfields because he knew the guy at Dangerfields. He told the guy at Dangerfields, listen, I want to do a show there with Joe. You guys got a date. I think when I was talking, it was like April 30th. And he's like, all right, July 5th's the show. And I was like, you just booked the show? And he's like, yep, the show's booked July 30th, July 5th, I think it was. And CJ Cullen actually came to my first show that I've done. I did 8 minutes. It was in the city at Dangerfields. And after that, the owner took me on the side and he's like, have you ever done stand up before? I was like, no, it's my first time. And he's like, who wrote your material? I was like, I wrote it. And he's like, wow, that was really good. You want to do another show? And I was like, sure. I said, I'll do another show, but I can't do one right now because, I was doing a movie at the time, so I couldn't really do it. So I had to like set up with him when we're going to do a show. So then, I started doing shows and little by little, I kept doing shows. Now I'll do like 3, 4 a year, depending on my schedule and stuff like that. It's fun.
And what is it like? What is it like being a stand-up comedian? Like it's very different than working on a film set, right?
Oh yeah, it's 100% different because you're dealing with live audience,
Mm,
dealing with like people that, you want to make laugh and sometimes everybody doesn't get your joke. So you got to learn how to, go to the next joke. Or if somebody's laughing, you got to know how to wait for the laughter to die down and then talk. I mean, when I first did it, I didn't know that I basically had a routine where I would just do the routine and I didn't really pay attention to when people were laughing. But then as I was doing it, stand up comedians taught me a lot. Like I watched other stand ups and I seen that when you say a joke, people start laughing. You wait for the laugh to stop and then you say the next joke. And you
mm,
and you go slow. You don't talk fast. And you a lot of facial reactions and a lot of hand movements and a lot of talking to the crowd and looking at the crowd. Meanwhile on film, you don't have to wait for people to stop laughing because basically there's no people there unless you're doing a
right.
live audience, which I've done before, which is then you have to probably wait for the laughter to stop.
Mm. And I find it so cool that you worked with Jim Breuer before because I just interviewed him. What was your experience working with him?
Oh, it was great. We did a movie called Crooked Lines. He played one of my friends in that. And it was great, man. We had these wigs we wore in one scene. We were in a lot of scenes together. We were in like maybe 20 scenes. And I actually hung out with him on the set and after the set. And, we went out to eat a couple of times. He's just such a great individual. And like I said, he had his show at, I think it was Horrors in Atlantic City, and I seen it a couple of years ago, and he was really good, man. He's really, really good. I had a great experience with him.
Mm. That's it's such a small world.
Yeah, funny. I got one of his I have a doll, the Goat Boy doll.
Oh yeah.
I have that.
And he on SNL he impersonated Joe Pesci, which just even more full circle. Like it's so funny.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's a great actor too, and so funny. Even like when we were filming the movie, he'd be joking in between scenes, and just great person to work with, man. I hope I get to work with him again.
Yeah. Do you have like I know we've kind of talked about it throughout this, but do you have any specific advice for students who like want to get into this career or just advice for students?
My advice is write and make your own movies, and that's how you do it. Write characters, do short movies, do 2 minute videos, open up a YouTube page, do like film on your iPhone, film on anything you got, and just make little movies and put them out there, and always be kind. Always be kind to everyone, even if they're not kind to you. Be kind back. Pray for them that they change, or maybe they're just going through something that day. Because like I said, sometimes it happens.
Hmm. And do you want to plug your socials and you could plug the show as well at the Middletown Sports Complex?
Joseph D'Onofrio on Facebook, official Joseph D'Onofrio on Instagram, and my comedy show, October 16th, Saturday night. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. Nice and early. It's going to be a 3-course meal. Great food. $65 a head. Hey, it's like getting the meal and the comedy show's free. And you get me hosting. You got Bob DeBono, who's a headliner. Steve Marshall, who's a headliner. Patty Roxborough, who's a headliner. And Drew Frazier. And guess what? He's all headline acts. It's going to be a great night to get out, enjoy your life, have a good meal, have some laughs. And it's a great venue. Everybody's not going to be all over each other. It's going to be tables and everybody's going to be spread out. It's going to be nice and easy going. Great service, great people, great food, just a great all around night.
So you heard it here. You have to go see the show and make sure to follow him on every social media platform. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me and talking to me tonight.
Thank you for having me on, and good luck to whatever you're doing in life. And you got a great teacher over there, and CJ Cullen. He is a really good guy, and he really knows his stuff. And if you guys ever need me or ever have a question or anything like that, you can always reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm always willing to help or give advice or whatever you need. I'm here for you. Thank you.